Hello, welcome to the third painting in the Cottage Collection series. I'm going to start with the palette on this one and mix the colors, and there'll be a time lapse as to where these colors that I'm mixing right now that you're watching are going. And these are two apples, and so the first one was alizarin crimson and burnt umber, and when I'm working on the first day, alizarin crimson is such a slow drying color that if you don't mix it with burnt umber or raw umber, in my opinion, maybe even a little liquid, it will take days to dry. And so that's the first one. On the right of that, there was a little bit of Diox purple or violet added in to make it really dark. This mixture is alizarin crimson with cad red medium mixed in, and I'm making what are called strings, and some people kind of chuckle at that term, but basically it's alizarin crimson and cad red, and then you add a little more cad red and you make another box, and you add a little bit more cad red and you make another box, and you go all the way down. There are artists who have made pages and pages and sheets of these boxes, and I've done some of that. I highly recommend playing with mixing color. It's just great to learn. This is alizarin crimson and white, which makes a very nice pink. And then the one coming up next to that is going to be cadmium red and white. And my teacher, Dan Green, mixes a huge palette of all these strings before every portrait he painted. And then when I have a model coming, I will pre-mix some of these just to save time so that I'm not, models are expensive to hire. And so you want to have as much of the work done as you possibly can, as opposed to mixing color while someone is sitting there being paid. Apples, they don't charge much to sit there, and so you don't have that luxury. But for the sake of educational purposes, or certainly not entertainment purposes, I don't think anybody wants to watch me mix paint. It's really not all that fun. It's really not all that interesting. So, in fact, I sped this up. This was originally 8 minutes, and I just went up. There's no way anyone wants to watch me mix paint for 8 minutes. And so I sped this up 2 times, so I got it to about 3. And right here you'll see, where it is a little tricky mixing these strings. Sometimes you don't get all the values right, and you have to go back in and redo it. And if you've never tried this as an exercise, if you want to be a painter, this is a hugely important exercise to do, is to just get these strings, get them right. Start with black and white, obviously. If you haven't done, 10 boxes, black and white, you're missing out. It's going to jump now to the still life, where I'm actually applying these colors that we pre-mixed into the apple, and that video I actually slowed down to so that you can see it a little bit better. And here we go, and we're just going to start with those deep darks and work our way over to the lightest lights. One of the important things for me in my approach to painting is I don't like to cover the entire canvas with paint. Plenty of artists do. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you like to work, wet in a wet, that's fine. That's not how I do it. I try to have each stroke hit a dry surface until the very end. At the very end, then I may work wet in a wet. And it's not that you have to have the ability to work wet in a wet. I just don't like to. And you can see here where I'm just slightly going over the edges to blend so that my strokes aren't super sharp. But I would say that my strokes are sharper than a lot of people's. And so there's the little highlight at the end, and then this is the finished first sitting. And then on the second sitting, I'm going to redraw, which is what you're seeing now, and then go back to the beginning, which is this is the finished product. And it's a short video, but thank you for watching.